Okay, so Shalom. We're continuing with where we left off in Likutey Halakhot, Nefilat Apayim, falling on one's face, paragraph 16, the very end. Just before we continue, Rav Nosson now is going to summarize. He's going to add a few points, but he's going to summarize these ideas because so many things are mentioned here. Before we look into this, I want to look at the pasuk itself. This is the pasuk from Parshat Kitisa, the opening pasuk in Parshat Kitisa, opening two verses really, where it talks about the mitzvah of the census, the mitzvah of counting the Jews through the Shekalim. So let's take a look at the pasuk and Rashi. There's something amazing in Rashi here that fits in so amazingly with this lesson, the Likutey on lesson 24. So the verse reads, right, this is chapter 30, verse 11. Vaydaber Hashem and Moshe lemor, and Hashem spoke to Moshe saying the following: Kitisa et rosh bnei Yisrael lifkudehem, when you, like Rashi says, will want, tachpot, so we're going to see in Rashi inside, when you will want to do a head count of the children of Israel, lifkudehem, to count them as a census. So like we saw, v'natnu ish kofer nafsho l'Hashem bifkodotam, so each person should give an atonement of his soul to Hashem while being counted, while they're counted for being counted, and as a result, v'lo yeh b'hem negef bifkodotam, so that there should be no plague when being counted. So Rashi says, kitisa. Okay, he says first Lashon Kabbalah, fine. Keshetachpotz lekabel schum minyanam ladat kamahem. When you will want, tachpotz, when you will want to receive their number, the schum of the minyan, ladat kamahem, to know how many they are. So there's a problem here. It's so dangerous to count. If it's so dangerous to count, we saw how dangerous it is to count. It's a danger. There can be a plague, and actually it happened in King David's time. The Jews died from the plague because he accidentally thought to count. Okay, so if that's that bad, so don't count. We don't. Why do you need to do a head count? Why do you need to know how many Jews there are? Oh, to know how much water we have to supply, what has to be fixed. So there's many ways how to fix up a country, to find out. You can say, okay, if this area is filled up, then we know we have enough soldiers to fight. There's many ways, alternative ways to find out things, and not just through counting. Okay, you want to give a head count, why? To know how much people have to give taxes. So you see, based on the give and take of societies, of situations, you can also figure it out. You don't have to count if it's so bad. Okay, and here Rashi says, keshetachpotz, when you want to count. Why would I want to count? It's being so dangerous. If now you say there's the obligatory times to count, okay, so then you have the Shekalim for that. There's like a second thing we're saying. But why would I want to count them? Rashi says, keshetachpotz. Well, I just want to count to know how many there are, but why would I want that in the first place? If it's so dangerous and it's not necessary, it's not an obligation, why would I want to count the Jews? So in this word, keshetachpotz, tachpotz was the root chafetz, when a person wants. Lachpotz and ratzon are similar, synonymous. Who's the man who wants life? Okay, chafetz is to want. Want is connected to the person's yearning and desire. Ratzon, kisufin, chafetz, lachpotz. They're all synonyms. They're all related, interrelated. When a person wants, okay, what's the idea of ratzon here? So in this lesson 24, Rabbi Nachman says that let's go back a little. When you merit being happy, and you take that simchah and you put it in your mitzvah performance, you're not depressed and sad and heavy and lethargic. You're rather doing things in a positive attitude, believing that what you do has a value. Okay, so this now gives you momentum. The mitzvah gains momentum. The kedusha that was trapped gains momentum. The shechina gains momentum. You gain momentum, and then you go up and up, receiving blessing. Blessing activates the da'at. The da'at activates the keter. And when you have the keter, so now, like we said, the keter's way is that you want to grasp what's beyond the keter, the infinite light, which will help you in every area of life. But for that to happen, you get pushed back. You need to push back to go backwards. okay? And the pushback is in order to create vessels. Now what happens, like we said, when you take the pushback positively, which is through simchah, 1 second. When you take the pushback positively, what comes out is something called ratzon. Because now you're yearning. The thing is, you're distanced from it. You wanted the keter, you want infinite light, you want help, you want clarity from Hashem, and you're being pushed back. You're being pushed back. So the normal, a healthy attitude is where the person's yearning comes out, because the obstacle, the miniya, is in order to bring out what's really inside of you, which is your yearning, and that's what comes out. That's what's called the ratzonot el kisufim. Hashem, I just wanted to become close to you. I just want to be good. That's all I want, Hashem. Why am I doing all this Jewish stuff and Torah stuff and Chassidus and Kabbalah, whatever, and going into devotions? Because I just want to connect to you, Hashem. That's all I want. Okay? This activates, Rabbi Nachman says in lesson, the level beyond the keter, which is called the Tzachtzachot. Tzachtzachot is another term for the acts activating and connecting to the infinite light. Unbelievable. The keter in the Kabbalah are like a physical crown. The physical crown on a king has 3 sections. There's the bottom rim of the crown that sits on the head of the king. And there's the middle part of the crown that has all the jewels, all the decorations. The splendor of the crown is mainly in the middle part, where all the diamonds and jewels are, and decoration, everything's in the middle part. And then a normal king has spitzes, points going upwards, right? Connecting to Hashem. Kotz is gematria, kuf. They're called kotzim. It's like thorns. The points of the crown, they're called kotz. Kotz, okay, is one. Kuf is 100. Vav is 6. Tzaddik is 90. 196. 196 is tzach. Tzach, which means tzach is, first of all, is 98. Okay, tzaddik chet 98 plus 98 is 196. Okay, tzach is this lights of splendor. The lights of splendor are the part of the keter that's connecting to the infinite light. It's the level of the keter that connects to the infinite light are the kotzim, and the way to connect to it is through tzachtzach. Now the Zohar says, what is tzachtzachot? What a funny word. It's like a redundancy, repetition. Tzach and again tzach. Why twice? You know, you have tzach, which translates. There's 2 meanings the Zohar says for tzach. Tzach means a clear light. Tzach ve'adom, like we say in Shir Hashirim, Song of Songs. Also in Shabbos morning by the Ashkenazim, they sing Anim Zimirot at the end of davening. So that's tzach ve'adom, it says there. Tzach means like something which is clear and shining red. Tzach ve'adom. In Song of Songs, Hashem, the Chatan, as if to say, is being praised. Tzach ve'adom, clear, red, shiny. Okay. So tzach, the Zohar says, means a clear light, but also tzach means someone who's thirsty, someone who's parched, dry, and he's thirsty for water, but also in a spiritual sense, a person is thirsty for Hashem. So that's thirst is another expression of yearning, desire, ratzon, kisufim, and chafetz, lachpots. The ratzon is expressed in thirst. Hashem, I'm tzama, like we say in Tehillim, right? Tzama lecha nafshi, kama lecha v'sari, right? Tzama'at, tzimaon, and tzach are synonymous also. And when King David is saying in Psalms, tzama nafshi lelokim lekelchai, or tzama lecha nafshi, Hashem, I'm thirsty for you. Tzama nafshi, my soul is thirsty for the Lord. Okay? Tzama lecha, Hashem, to you I'm thirsty. So thirst is expressed as tzach. So the Zohar says that the tzach is showing 2 things, 2 opposites. The thirst of having the lack. For example, someone who's thirsty is lacking water. So the lack is causing him to have thirst, and the thirst is an expression of, it's a representation of yearning, okay? That tzach leads to the second tzach, which is that light. So tzach is 2 opposites, but stages. To get to the tzach, which is this light, the light of splendor, the infinite light, you need first to have an expression of the first tzach, which is the thirst. So tzach, gematria 196, kotz, which is the top part of the keter, of the crown, the kotzim, okay? So in other words, when a Jew gets the pushback from the keter, that activates if he's healthy. If he came to this level healthy, which is through simchah, so what will normally happen when a person gets pushed back, it'll just bring out his positive yearning, as opposed to people who don't get here through simchah. They find other means to try to connect the keter, and the keter is not there to help them. So the people, they crash, and they say, Hashem doesn't want me anymore. They give up, they fall, they drop. I'll never forget, I went, for whatever reason, not for alcohol addiction, but I went to an Israeli version of Alcoholics Anonymous for all types of people of addiction. I don't know why. I went to the guy in charge for something else, and he said, you have to come to the meeting. So I get to the meeting, you know how it is. Hi, and it's in Hebrew. Shalom, Shem Sheli, Avi. Hi, my name is Avi. We love you, Avi. That's how they always begin in these meetings, right? So it's like, in a way, it's a small group, but each one is open about themselves. Now, the problem is, I came, and I knew a few of these people. And one guy was like a fat guy, another guy, I didn't know that I knew him. He recognized me, but I didn't recognize him because he shaved off totally his beard and his face. He was like a skinhead, nothing. No kippah, nothing. So I didn't know who he was. But you're a bit shy when you go to these groups, but they're used to it already because they've gone through it so many times, and everyone knows about what the other guy's going through because they're very open. Whatever, okay. And I tried to speak. I didn't know what to say. I was really embarrassed because what am I doing here? Why are you throwing me to this meeting? So after the meeting, the skinhead guy, came up to me. He says, "You don't recognize me, do you?" I said, "No." And he said his name. I said, "No way." He was a family guy with a wife and kids. He said he lost everything. He crashed. Lost his wife. His kids are against him. The divorce, in other words. He got a divorce. And everything's against him. And his whole life crashed. And I see he let go of his Yiddishkeit. No kippah, no, nothing. And he was a ger tzedek even on top of that. And I was thinking a lot about him. You obviously can't judge. But sometimes you get a feeling about a person that the person's in for it. He's in for a dead end in life. When people behave and act in a certain way, you have a feeling it doesn't feel right. Something's wrong here. Something is not true here. There's a lot of falsehood in this person's attitude, and it's not going to help him. When you build a foundation and it's with sheker, so that when you're faced with a challenge in life, because the foundation is not strong, because it's mixed with a lot of sheker, so the person crashes. As opposed to people who may have sheker in their attitude, but they're open for change. In other words, they're doing things because they think it's the right thing, but they leave themselves in an area, Hashem, if this is the wrong thing in life, then please I'm willing to change. I'm doing things because I don't know anything else anyways. I don't know any alternative of something else. This is what I know to do. I believe it's the right thing to do, but Hashem, if it's the wrong thing, so please I ask you, I beg of you, Hashem, put things in the right place. So you can have a person, even though he has a sheker attitude, because it's unconditioned for the real truth, so he may crash, but Hashem gives him like a catch net, like a the air-filled trampoline to catch the person. So if he crashes, he doesn't crash and become totally destroyed spiritually. He has these things helping him, and another opening to start again, as opposed to people who know, they're convinced that their sheker is their ultimate truth and it's the right thing, and then you see them fall in life. And with this guy, I felt it. I remember him like 20 years earlier, and I said, there's something wrong here. You can't judge another person, fine, but at the same time, like they say in Breslov, there's a nice expression by Rabbi Chaim Rosen. He said, people are nice to deal with. People are nice and good and clean and pleasant, but just remember to count your change. An amazing expression. That, you have to, like the Gemara says, chabdehu v'chashdehu. You respect people, but be cautious. Don't fall into the trap. You don't have to be convinced, because he's coming to me, so it must be right. You don't have to bend to other people's their version of their truth, and that they're forcing it on you. You don't have to accept. Since when? I have to accept your truth? I have a different emet. I have a different attitude. I respect you, fine. I give you your room, but don't come forcing your emet onto me. I didn't ask anything. No, this is the right thing, and you have to do it also. Come on, okay? So people don't have that attitude. They feel their thing is like the real thing, and then they crash. Okay. So I'm trying to remember why I got into this. Sometimes I get so carried away from a story. Just, yeah, I now remember. When a person starts with simcha, okay, simcha means I'm so appreciative of everything that comes my way. It's not like, oh, I deserve it. Magiali, they say in Hebrew, magiali, I deserve it, I deserve it. I don't deserve anything. Every tiny thing, I'm so thankful to Hashem. Thank you that I put on my tefillin today. Thank you that I woke up. Modani, every Jew, we say you thank you, wake up. No, it's not assumed, oh, I'm going to wake up tomorrow. If it's assumed, so why did the rabbis institute saying Modani every morning? You're saying Modani, thanking Hashem? No, but it's obvious. It's obvious I'm going to get up in the morning. Who says it's obvious? Who says? You're saying Modani means it's a miracle that you got up in the morning, that you're alive. So everything is like appreciation, and that's joy. A person who has that simcha out of appreciation, which is also one of the 5 ways of simcha, being happy by giving thanks. So such a person, he's appreciative. He has some simcha because he realizes he doesn't deserve anything happening in life. He may at times forget about it, but in the long run, in general, the person has a happy attitude because he appreciates, look how far I've come in life. Married with kids and a business and Torah study and this, and I'm just advancing. My perspective has changed, okay? He's going through ups and downs, but there is a movement, there's appreciation of life, enjoying, being happy, and appreciative of all the good, Baruch Hashem. So a person who has that, when they get the smash back, so what comes out, the healthy response is ratzon. They also don't know what happens, like the carpet is pulled under your feet. When the world happened? So the guy who doesn't have simcha, he takes it as a blow, it's all over, it's finished, and he falls all the way, and he does like devastating things. Devastating things. There's always hope for a person, but it's up to the person. There are people who don't want to come back. They don't want it, they lost the ratzon. You can only help a person who has ratzon, right? He has a desire. But there are people who don't want to be helped. So those people you can't help. And why are they like that? This is what Rabbi Nachman reveals in this unbelievable lesson 24, Likutey Moran. It's because they didn't start off with simcha. The descent, like we say in the Chadodi Friday night, Sof Ma'aseh b'machashava tchila. The final action is a retroactive showing of what was the initial thought, the machshava tchila. The way the person thought initially comes out in the Sof Ma'aseh, what happens in the end. There's an ascent and there's a descent. And the descent you have in life is based on the ascent. If your ascent was done with sincerity, honesty, and a sense of joy, of appreciation, even if you're not 100%, but you have the cup, you believe in that, and you want that, and you know that's the right attitude, and you're taking that humble attitude, so when you get smashed, you don't take it, oh, what happened to me? They don't want me anymore, that's it, it's over. I don't want to talk about it, I don't want to hear about it, don't talk to me anymore about Judaism and Yiddishkeit and Torah, I'm just fed up, I'm turned off. He's showing that he was never b'simcha in the first place. And in other words, he could have been b'simcha, but his haughtiness didn't allow him to have that simcha, to be appreciative. Always, I deserve, I'm a perfectionist, what is this? This is not supposed to happen to me, it was supposed to happen to somebody else, how could you do this to me, okay? But the positive attitude is tzachtzach. When a person gets smashed and pushed back, it's done to bring out his yearning. The tzach, the thirst, which is chefetz, which is ratzon, that brings out, wow, the tzach, the light. You get to that light. Because you say, Hashem, I just want to be close to you. I just wanted you, Hashem. All of this I did because I thought I was doing the right thing. Please don't abandon me, Hashem. I feel so abandoned. I don't know what to do, and this and that. Hashem says, I was waiting for that. Karov Hashem lechol kore'av, lechol asher yikra'uhu ve'emet. Hashem is close to all those who call out to Him, to all those who call out to Him in truth. When you're calling out to Hashem from the point of truth, which is brought out, it's coming out from your ratzon, the tzach is coming out, so then you merit this delight. That's how you get to it, okay? So now, with that in mind, the ratzon has a big part in receiving the bash of the keter, the bitisha of the keter properly, and then the infinite light that comes to fill in. It's all dependent on tzachtzach, because it itself is called orot tzachtzachot. The infinite light, Rabbi Nachman says, he's quoting Kabbalah, that orot tzachtzachot is accessing the infinite light through the smash, the setback of the keter. This is how you access the orot tzachtzachot which is above, he says in the lesson Likutey, above all the sfirot. Because it's true. It's the beginning initiation of the creation. The infinite light shining into the creation. That's Orach Tzachtzachot. That's where Hashem is expecting us to connect to in order to resolve our challenges in life, to have the right vessels, to have the breakthroughs we need. Everything is possible. Everything is possible, but it depends how much you like. I've been saying this a lot last week. The Mexicans have the piñata, the stuffed donkey or horse with candies, and they hit it, at the birthday boy, the birthday child. He hits the piñata, and all the candies come out. So that's how Hashem designed the world. He wants us to access the goodies, okay? But it's a lot of getting hit. God getting hit, and then it comes out from within. B'ezrat Hashem, we have inside us accessing the infinite light. We're chelek elokim imal. We have a godly peace in us, meaning inside of us comes out the infinite light. It's inside. It's in the middle, even though it's really beyond, but it's also everywhere within us, hidden. Sorry. So going back to Rashi, keshetachpots, when you will want, ratzon. Okay? For that, you need to count. In order now, as on a national Jewish level, to connect to the chafetz, keshetachpots, so and for that you're gonna need lekabel schum minyanam. For that you're gonna need to count, which we're gonna see now in this last paragraph. Now, you need to count. We can't say, okay, counting is dangerous, so thank you, no thank you, I won't count, and I don't need anything. He says no. The counting is danger zone, but it's for a benefit. In order to activate the keter, like on a more general level, and to get Jewish people to have the yearning, the chafetz to come out. So the way to do this is you have to dafka count. Because like we said, the guy, don't count. What do you mean when you would want to count? If it's so dangerous to count, so I'm not going to count. He says, but there's a benefit from counting. The counting is a national way to get people connecting to the infinite light. Okay, let's see. To get people connecting to the 9 chambers. Let's see inside. This last little leg of this paragraph, which was absolutely amazing. It's one of the most profound ways that Rav Nosson expresses the idea of accessing the infinite light. Okay? So he says like this. And it was through numbering, the secret of numbering, which was absolutely amazing how Rav Nosson, he really got us, 8, 9, 0, 10. Well, it's 10. It's again a 0. Who in the world thought of that? That's unbelievable. How the 0 is, the 10 is like a repetition of 0, going back to 0. Why am I going back? Why doesn't mathematics have, like we said, a special number for 10, which is not a repetition? Like 0, 10, 20, 30, 100, 1,000, a million. The whole thing was just phenomenal, what Rav Nosson opened up. And also the idea of going back. You start again 0. 10, okay, it's the next leg, but you start it again. You started at 0 again. It's like reconnecting to the infinite light. These are just amazing ideas, so profound. Okay, so let's see Rav Nosson now. Ve'al ken. So now, based on everything that was said until now, and also what we went into, like the few details, and we'll again go reiterate, because Rav Nosson is going to add like a few words here, which give us a better picture. Ve'al ken, therefore, thus, tzivta Torah, the Torah commanded, liten shkalim, to give, that each Jew has to give shkalim. When we say shkalim, it means a half coins. A half coin of a shekel is considered a shekel coin. We don't go out of our way to call it a half shekel coin every time. Shkalim is the name of the currency. Now, what you're giving is a half shekel of a shekel coin. But the currency is called shkalim. It's like the new Israeli shekel, and a shekel, okay? So yeah, it's like it's one coin called the shekel coin. No, there's a half shekel coin. The currency is called shkalim. That's why he's using the word shkalim, not half a shekel. Okay? So now the Torah commands, you see? Tzivta Torah liten shkalim, the Torah commanded to give shkalim, letzorech korbanot uktoret be'et haminyan. The Torah commands to give shkalim, which will go towards the korbanot. Like we said, we proved last week the verses that show that the goal of the korban is to bring simchah, to eat the korban with joy, to eat the korban chatat, shlamim, okay, the korbanot which were daily tamid shel boker, tamid shel banabayim, which was the general korbanot sacrifices. So the kohanim ate from that also. Okay, there's simcha generated from the korban. Also, the atonement is a simcha. Okay, so we said that in Ktoret, we know the verse says that Ktoret brings simcha, because for Hashem there's no greater sacrifice or devotion in the temple like the ketoret, because it wipes out the klipot, elevates the holiness. The simcha trapped comes out. That's why the verse reads, Ketoret Yesamach Lev. Ketoret brings joy to the heart. So the Shekalim went to these simcha dik and Yiddish, simcha attitude devotions. Okay, Ketoret and Ketoret. Be'et haminyan, when counting, when there's a census, the Torah commanded, do it through the Shekalim. And these Shekalim are going towards purchasing and buying the needs of the temple, the sacrifices, and the incense. And why? The Torah says, the verse reads, this verse that we just read, Kedei shelo yeh bahem negev bifkodotam, so that there shall be no plague at the time of counting. Okay? Because if you count without this, there'll be plague. It's death. And why is this happening? Why is the Shekalim now doing this? Like we said last class, the Shekalim is doing this because it's destroying the evil. Ki nitbatel sitra demota, the ki nitbatel sitra demoto shehu sitra achra hane'echaz ba'minyan. Amazing, because the side of death becomes nullified. What is the side of death? Shehu sitra achra, the side of evil, which has an attachment to numbering, and like we said, being that all creation is built on multiplication, a plurality, everything is built of being above two. As soon as there's a creation, there's now trillions of atoms, of molecules, of cells, of creation. There's now several. There's now a plurality. There's many now. There's a multitude. Okay? When you have, like we said, anything which is a plural, we went into this in great detail in this paragraph, that's where the evil attaches itself. So being in this world already has an attachment to the evil side because of the plurality. And we said, how does that happen? Because when there's plurality, when there's more, there's room for error. There's room for sheker. There's room for falsehood to fool people, because there's like more options. When there's more options, so you get more confused. Option this, option, and you know what is the right option to do, so you make a wrong decision, a wrong conclusion, etc. There's room for misrepresentation, for misunderstanding, for sheker, basically, okay? So the Sitra Achra already has a stronghold in this world. So now we want to work to a certain degree to nullify it. We want to get rid of the side of death. Death happens, natural death happens, but plague, which is activated by counting Jews, oh, that's bad, okay? And now, why would I want to do that? If I count the Jews now, like we said, it reconnects them to the infinite light. And if it's reconnecting them to infinite light, it's above numbers. So we're releasing the grasp to a degree, because we're still human beings. We still have to eat and sleep and drink and be married and live in this world and go to work. We still have Hashem wants us to still be in this world. Not to be totally nullified like a hermit, and fly up and be separated from the world. No. We have to eat, sleep, drink, we need parnasa, we need to function. The thing is in and out. Okay? And then for the in and out, the Yetzer Hara can't stand that. The Yetzer Hara doesn't want that. So to release his grasp of his side of death, the potential side of death, and thus the evil side affecting our daily connectivity to Hashem's infinite light, so that's what the Shekalim come to do. They sever that. It nitbatel. It nullifies, again, to a certain degree, because it's not totally nullified, because Jews still die, even after being counted properly. A generation comes, a generation goes. There's been many generations since the Jews were being counted in the desert in the time of Moshe Rabbeinu, and in the time of the first temple, the second temple. Those Jews are no longer here physically. They left. So they did die. So what do you mean this? They need, but the sitra demota, the unusual accessivity of the side of death to disrupt a person's natural living, to make it ruined faster and more severe, that is cut by the Shekalim. And that we want. I want that the unexpected disasters should not have more of an influence in my life. So that's why the Shekalim took place, to cut off that side of death, which is the Sitra Achra, the side of evil. Okay? As kinit batel Sitra demota, Sitra Achra hanechaz ba'minyan, which is, his wording is, wow. It's like stuck, like a parasite, like a klipa. Hanechaz ba'minyan. On the numbering systems, that's where the Sitra Achra has its stronghold. Hu nitbatel Al yedei hashkalim shem letzorach hakorbanot uktoret. So this side of death, which is the sityachra, okay, which is preventing us from reconnecting to Hashem's infinite light. So because of that, I need to get rid of it. If now I'm living on a daily basis and I'm having a lot of disruption, more than I can handle to connect to the infinite light, so I got to get rid of it. How is that done? That's by Shekalim. We're also going to say this is done on a yearly. Shekalim was once a year, and today we have no temple, so we read the Parsha of Shekalim right before Adar, and if you just knew what it was doing to you, just reading the Parsha of the Shekalim. I'm not giving any money. We give before the Megillah Zecher lemachasita shekel. Fine, that's a Zecher. But the Parsha reading is like the real deal of reading over we have an obligation to read Parshat Shekalim in addition to the Parsha of the week before, the Shabbat before Adar, right? What it does to you is for the next year, it cuts off. We don't have a temple today. We don't have the Beit HaMikdash. We don't have the Korbanot Ketoret. So the best we can do is recite the Parsha and also give Zecher L'Machatzit Shekel in commemoration, in memory, but not instead of, in commemoration, memory of the Machatzit Shekel right before the Megillah. Fine. We do that, it's for the whole year. It's to cover us up and protect us to a certain degree, because we do see that disasters still happen, but it can go to say that if all the Jewish people in the world were keeping to the Shekalim, Parshat Shekalim, and the Machatzit Shekel, there would be much less tragedies in the Jewish people. If more Jews were into the census reading, the countings of the Parsha, of the Shabbat before Adar, which is that's the most propitious time, because that's when it actually happened at the time of the Beit HaMikdash. So we would be less influenced by the Sitra Demota and the Sitra Achra. Yes, Rav Nosson here is practical. At the end of the day, Rav Nosson wants to just like a theoretical idea. He wants to bring it down to practice, that this is what's happening when we recite the Shekalim. He's going to go into this B'ezrat Hashem in the next paragraph, the next section B'ezrat Hashem. Okay, but he's explaining, let's go back to back then. נתבטל סיטרא דמותא שסיטרא אחרא הנאחז במניין כי הוא נתבטל על ידי השקלים שהם לצורך הקורבנות דוקטורט. So it's nullified through the Shekalim because the Shekalim went towards the korbanot and the ketoret, like you said initially. And like what's the idea? שהם בחינת עשיית המצווה בשמחה, that they are the idea of doing the mitzvah with joy. Because like we said, Rabbi Nachman in lesson 24 equates any mitzvah you do with joy with the power of Ketoret. Ketoret kills the klipot and releases the holiness, okay? And the doing a mitzvah b'simcha does the exact same thing. Doing mitzvah b'simcha also kills the klipot. It's like an amazing insight. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? Ketoret does that. Okay, the Kabbalists say, so do the parsha of the Ketoret and Ketoret and Ketoret. Okay, how about simcha? How about the little guy who right now can't even say Ketoret, he's so depressed? So for him and for everyone else, guess what, guys? Simchat mitzvah equals Ketoret. A proof, the verse, Ketoret yisamach lev. Ketoret brings simcha. The goal is simcha. So if the goal is simcha, if I can already find a way how to be b'simcha, which is even telling jokes and acting silly and putting on music, gets me to a certain degree of simcha, and I can take that energy and have it ready to put in the next time I do a mitzvah, and to remember that the goal of me davening and tefillin and tzitzit is to be b'simcha. That's the goal here. Not to be uptight and let me get to work already and finish and do what I have to do. But doing things with joy and simcha, you got it. You're in, bro. You're in the plan. Okay, it's unbelievable what he's saying here. The simcha of the mitzvah is equated to the ketoret and the korbanot. Okay, shebachinat asiyat mitzvah b'simcha, doing the mitzvahs with joy. Sha'al yidei zeh nichlal haminyan be'achduto, and because through the simcha of the mitzvah, the numbering gets reunited with Hashem's unity. Because what does a simcha do? What does simcha mitzvah do, keter do? It releases the holiness trapped and brings it all the way up to the keter. That's what it does. It makes the Zohar says the keter just opens up all the obstructions and makes a clear pathway from down below all the way up to the keter and back down. It's totally clear. Okay. So that's amazing. So it's reconnecting Hashem's unity. What's way up there? The infinite light. Another term for that is achduto, Hashem's unity. Blessed be He. And like we said, al yidei hasagat atishai chalin hanizkarim le'el kanizkalel. And through, of course, the condition that you get bounced back. The keter goes up and up and up and up, but you can't keep on going. The keter can't just go all the way up to the infinite light because it'll be disappeared. It'll be unified in the infinite existence and won't exist anymore, the keter. So there is a bounce even by the keter. That's like, for example, when the Kohen Gadol entered the Holy of Holies on Yom Kippur. Okay? So the Zohar and the Gemara explains how the cloud of the keter looked like when going up. So it would go up in like a pillar. The keter, when the Kohen Gadol, he had the pan with the keter incense on it in the Holy of Holies. So he would put, and on the other hand, he had burning coals. So he put the burning coals on, or sorry, the opposite. He had the coals on the pan and the keter, and he poured the keter on the burning coals. The burning coals would burn and convert into smoke, the keter. And he said the keter would go up and up like a straight pillar, and then like a mushroom, go on the top ceiling, and then come down. Okay? So even the keter eventually got hit on the top wall, where the whole, Rav Nosson explains, the whole room of the Holy of Holies is like accessing the infinite light, where it's bounced back, filling up the room, and by filling up the room, that's when the atonement takes place. That's when, after only once the keter was activated, the smoke was activated, did the Kohen Gadol start the sprinkling. Again, it was very tough for the Kohen Gadol. He had to hold even in between his bosom. He was holding a few things. One pail, and then another jar with the dam, the blood, and the jar of the incense. He had to use all hands, plus in between his armpits to hold other items, and had to be very careful that nothing falls. Everything had to be exact, precise, etc. So when only once the keter Ashan filled the room, then he could do the work of the Holy of Holies, which is bringing down the infinite light, but only once covered with the smoke, the cloud of the keter, to show that's within that. That's what he's saying here. It's the 9 chambers, right? By perceiving these 9 chambers, which they themselves are unexplainable. You don't even know about the chambers you're creating when being bashed back, like the keter gets hit back and comes down. So too on your personal level, you're doing the mitzvot b'simcha, and you get also hit back. You also get hit back. You started with a smash in the beginning. That's where you started from. And there's a second one, a higher one, that's going to bring you greater simcha in life, Mizrat Hashem, when you take it properly. But the vessels you create, they themselves are unfathomable. Okay, they're ungraspable. All this happens through the Shekalim. That's why, and now that's when the minyan takes place, because the minyan is, I want to sever the grasp of the sitracha on the multitude of this world. I want to reconnect to the infinite light. It's through simcha. So since Shekalim generate simcha, that's why they were used. Okay, I think this is clear, because we went through the ideas also in the last class, and we just added some amazing points. Just one thing I wanted to say, something unbelievable, okay? Rav Yonatan Eibshitz, on last week's parsha, right? Parshat Korach. Sorry, I'm jumping. Now I want to save this. It's more applying to Parshat Balak. B'ezrat Hashem. I'll save it for Parshat Balak, okay? I want to get, that's when it'll take place, B'ezrat Hashem. I got you hanging in there, okay? All right, thank you. It was a good class.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you, Rabbi Nachman. Thank you, Rabbi Nosson.
Rabbi Nachman.
Okay, all the best.